and welcome to Emergent Woman, a podcast by Girls Must Uganda. This is one of the different online empowerment tools we are using to create a strong linkage between adolescent girls, young women, and their role models. Guests on the show are mentors, leaders, innovators, and problem solvers whose work and leadership are an inspiration why young women can draw inspiration and mindset growth. Through Emergent Woman, you will have the opportunity to listen to women share their stories. I'm Maureen Tukahira, your host, and today on our show we have a very important guest. She's one of the key role models we have for adolescent girls and young women, at least in the communities that I have been a part of. You are welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, we are going to get straight right into it. So the viewers would want to know, who are you and where do you come from?
Wow.
Yes.
Um, Hi everyone, and my name is Mbabazi Martha Atai, but of course I have other names as a result of culturalization through marriage. So the other name I bear is Mrs. Ojamuge, and I am a public health professional. But before I get to the profession, I am a mother of 4, 2 girls and 2 boys. Um, I am a public health professional, as I mentioned, and I love working in settings that ascertain secure lives, not just for young people, but even adults, especially focusing on HIV. I love saving lives, and I think I've saved so many lives. And that is where my satisfaction is derived as a public health professional. But I'm also a safe motherhood advocate. I desire a world where we do not have mothers or children dying due to pregnancy related causes. And that is me. And then when you come to the passion of nurturing young people and ensuring that they grow into meaningful citizens, responsible women and men, that is where I put my whole energy. Yes.
Well,
Briefly, that is what I can say about myself. It is a lot, but for now.
Okay, we are so happy and glad to have you on our show today.
Pleasure.
So, Martha, growing up, what were you so passionate about?
Growing up, my story is a mixed grill. It was a story of being a loved child by my mother, and she saw a lot of potential in me. First of all, she's this lady who knew I would definitely become a powerful woman in this nation. And her dream was to see me a lawyer. And somehow, because that was my mother's wish for me, I tended to look up to the same. Although at a certain point, you know, times have changed.
Yeah.
And my mother, because she wanted me to become a lawyer, she made me repeat primary 7. I think it was 3 times. And every other time I repeated, I would add about between 10 and 15 points. And that wouldn't enable me go to Gayaza because her dream school was Gayaza. Through Gayaza, it was obvious I would go to law school. So, but eventually I told mommy, no, let me continue to secondary school. So I continued. I continued, but also pursuing really that dream of becoming a lawyer. Long story cut short, it never happened. I ended up doing initially business studies in National College of Business Studies, now MOOPS. And after that, I got a small job. I got a job of accounts assistant with Kabira Club then. It was manned by South Africans. It was such an interesting experience working with a supervisor who was almost my age, but she was a white. She was actually Irish, but very, very supportive. And I think I looked up to her for some values that she carried around.
Which year was that?
That was 1996.
Ooh,
Yes.
okay.
That was 1996. Between 1995 October and 1996 December. Okay, October again, because then I had to make a decision to get married. So I did that job very well. Of course, there was multitasking. When the front office person is absent, I would step in and did it very well. And it was a members club, Kabira Club. It was a members club, and it was nice interacting with guests that came in. There were both indigenous people, but also foreign members. So it was good interacting with them, learning a few things here and there, but also interacting with their children, especially the foreign children. They were very naughty. So my career in Kabira Club was a short stint, but good. And I went on to get married. And so getting married meant that I had to stay with my husband. and my marriage was up country. And when I got there, it was good. It was a wedding marriage in church. And it was good because we're young people. And guess what? Our relationships dated back in school, high school. That is where I met the man who became my husband. And actually, before I even progressed to National College of Business Studies, I actually got a teenage pregnancy. And probably this has kind of formed the kind of woman I am, especially my passion in growing, especially girl children. So I got married. I started bearing my children, and so I had to abandon a job. I took to rearing children, giving birth, and bringing them up. And that took me from 1997 to 2001 when I gave birth to the last born. And by then, I had once in a while gotten interested and attracted to community work. And I would practically strap my baby on my back and get to volunteer in community activities. And specifically, in 1998, the women of Kumi decided to elect me right from the village level, and I went on climbing the ladder up to the district level as the district chairperson of Women's Council.
Wow.
Women's Council is a government program for community organization of women towards empowerment. Empowerment through skills, through economic, stability as family, household members. Government desires to empower women to be able to run certain aspects of the family, as opposed to being dependent on the men. So I steered that structure from 1998 to 2008 as a chairperson, Women's Council. This later motivated me to get into the political angle. And again, I was elected right from village level up to district level as chairperson District Women's League under the NRM
Mm.
party.
Mm.
And that also I took on it up to 2008 when I now crossed to join AHF Uganda Cares.
Mm.
But before then, I, being a stay-home mother, and you're literally in your husband's village, that means that you're hosting every day. You're hosting all sorts of visitors.
Yes.
And you can't just host them and engage them on conversation and just let them go. You had to step out and get into the kitchen. And so I did this very patiently over time. But one day I thought to myself, did my parents actually send me to school to just be home? And I actually noticed cracks on my feet, and I'm like, no, this is not for me. And I got into contact with my friend, my very good friend. She's called Florence. And I did indicate to her my concerns about staying home this long and actually getting obsolete, almost looking like someone who had never been to school. I said, I think I need to get out of this box. So she told me, yeah, we have opportunities that as a woman, a young woman, you can still get back to school. I'm also intending to get to university. So we can do it through mature agentry. And I dived in there. I said, how do I do that? Let's apply. I applied. She facilitated me so much. She sent me the forms. I applied. And there I was. I was invited. I was invited for interviews. I went there. I went for the interviews when I was still expecting. And I passed. And the interview that we did, mature agentry, it was aptitude. So just look at me. I never had time to read newspapers, nothing at all, not even a novel. But I went for these interviews and I passed. Actually, aptitude test is very, very complex. It involves your intellect, but also
It also requires practice.
it requires
I'm
practice.
told you have to practice for it.
Yes, so I never had that time, but I was shocked that I was able to pass. And when I went in for the one-on-one interviews after the aptitude, I think my having gotten into community work and the Women's Council and then the NRM Women's League sharpened my public speaking skills, but also my ability to interact with people. So confidently, I went in there and I convinced the panel, and I was finally admitted. And I went in for a community adult and community education program in Makerere University.
Wow, that's
And
nice.
yes, it was a very good foundational program. It widened my perspectives of life. It took me to different aspects of community, looking at children, looking at women, looking at the disabled, looking at all. It was an all-round program that really exposes you to working with different community groups. So I went in for my degree course, but I had a baby of 4 months. And my husband really wondered how I was going to manage. And I literally had to move with my 4 children from Kumi to Kampala, and I was determined. I said I must, and I must achieve. And so as I was in class, I knew that I had a duty. Before I go to class, I had to drop my children to Nakasero Primary School, rush back to class,
Wow.
attend at 1, I would go pick them, take them home, get back to class for afternoon sessions. And that is basically how I did my 3 3-year course.
So where were you living then?
Initially, I was living in Mbuya,
Mm.
but later on, I had to cross to Makerere University itself. I got space there where I had to live.
In the hall?
Within the staff quarters.
Okay.
I have a professor who was my uncle's, who was an uncle to my husband. He offered me space.
Oh, yeah.
And it was so relieving because now it was just easy. I drop out of class, pick them, drop them in the house, and I go back to class. In the evenings, I would invite my classmates. We do discussions so that I catch up with what I had missed within that time of picking children. And I was amazed. Came 2004, I graduated with that baggage of, it built resilience in me. Just having the experience of taking care of children almost single-handedly, because my husband was working far.
He was in Kumi.
He was in Bundibujo now. Oh, okay. He was working in Bundibujo, and he would only come in when he was able to.
He's also a civil servant.
He was an NGO worker. He was working with WFP.
Oh, okay.
And so project work can be hectic. So but he would regularize his coming to check on us and gets back. But this, taking care of children was so much on my back.
Yeah,
which I managed.
It also tends to be a feminine job.
It's a feminine job.
Technically.
Generally, women take on that role, bringing up children and putting them to line. So that was my growing up. But I wanted to let you know that I grew up with my mother as a single parent.
That's what I wanted to know. Where were you born?
I was born in Arua Hospital. Oh. And that explains why I associate so much with the Lugbara people. My close links with Arua community is just because my mother's placenta is buried in Arua, because I was given birth to in Arua Hospital. And so I love associating with people from Arua. So my mother was married, but when she got married, she, just like I did, I think I was following into her footsteps, she left her job. She was a trained nurse. And when she left her job for marriage, challenges emerged, domestic violence, and she had to run away for her life. When she ran away, she got back to the ministry and pleaded for reinstatement. And she was thrown to Arua Hospital. And that is where she met my dad. My dad is was an agriculturalist working in Moyo Hospital. And so, considering the proximity of the two towns and being civil servants, somehow I think they met and appreciated each other. And that is how I got to be born. They did not live to stay together. And my mother wasn't willing to also release me to my dad. And so it only happened way back in 1985, 86, around about, when I first met my dad. And he came right up to Serere, where my mother lived, where my mother's village. And this was around about the time insurgency began in Teso. So he came for me and took me back to school. And when he got me back to school, it took me to Wanyange, and now I started living with my father as well. Of course, with regular visits back home. And I love my father so much. I got to meet a very loving dad. are very passionate about a girl child getting the education that he needs,
Yeah.
or she needs. And that is how he got me to school and ensured that I got to the level that I got. His support definitely was so enduring in ensuring that I attained my education. My father is called, we call him Muzei Nyamwejendaho Augustine. He's now a retired agriculturalist. He lives in Nkumba in Entebbe, and he has a total of 13 children. Yeah. So back from that end, when I finished school, when I got back to Makerere and I finished my degree, of course, that is the point at which I now I now went back to Kumi. I went back to Kumi. There was a full access HIV home based program, testing program, and I got a job of a counselor, an HIV counselor, and I did it very well. In 1 year, I got a promotion to social worker, and this was basically checking on patients who are bedridden and supporting them together with their family members to take care of them, give them good care that is deserving of any human being, and ensure that, you know, they either get better, or if they didn't get better, they got a dignified end of life. And I did this very diligently, and that time I was working in 3 districts. Of course, then it was Kumi district, but the current Ngora district, Kumi district, and Bukedea districts. And that meant that I had to be on a motorbike riding myself across this vast area, checking on different clients. It also gave me an opportunity to, mobilize community into post-test clubs. By then, HIV prevalence in Teso was really small. Actually, by the end of our program, the evaluation indicated the prevalence was at 4%. Of course, the situation now has changed pretty much. But the efforts we put in also helped to sustain people, to keep them on check and cautious about HIV. And I am proud of having made that contribution in the districts of Kumi, Ngora, and Bukedea. So we formed post-test clubs, and this was in 16 sub-counties. And these post-test clubs basically brought in all those that were tested and they are negative or positive for that psychosocial support. And it worked out well to even mobilize and create awareness about HIV across the sub-counties through music, dance, and drama. And so I was facilitated to, create these post-test clubs, but also facilitate them with the equipment that they needed. And you know what makes me happy? Up to now, I will get a client calling me, Martha, you really left us. We miss you because we don't get services now the way we used to get. Makes me feel bad, but also makes me feel happy that somebody appreciated what I did
what you
then.
did then. Well,
Yeah.
I think there are a few things I want to just recap. One, you mentioned something that I'm still thinking about until now. You said when you got married, the expectations. Of course, when you get married, you start thinking that you have to live your life that you have, and you have to go and live with your husband. And you literally said, "But I did not expect that I had to leave and go live with my husband." And I think many, like, come to think of it, when you're like going to get married, there are many things you're thinking about. But there is that moment you hint on and you're like, now I have to move with everything I have, my belongings,
Yes.
and go start
Start
living
a
with
new
my
life.
live with my husband.
Yes.
And when it comes to probably shifting your entire life, like for example, moving, let's say you're living maybe Kampala, you're going to Kavale, you're going
Yes.
to Serere, you're going to your home. Like I think it is very, very, mentally, you have to mentally be prepared for
Very
something
true.
like that. So when you
True.
when you mentioned that, you're like, oh, I thought it's only our generation that is struggling with something
Oh.
like that. Like they have to actually remind you
Mm.
that you have to pack your things.
Yes.
No, I saw a video on social media of a certain lady who was getting married, and
Mm.
I think the reality hit her during her wedding day when they were giving speeches,
Yeah.
and she literally paused and said, "I cannot believe now I'm unable to go back to my home," and she
Mm.
started crying. And she started crying. And people might think, oh, this is a show or something, but
Mm.
that reality
But those
hits.
feelings are there.
That reality hits, like
Yeah.
you have to pack your things
Mm-hmm.
and go. And then the other thing, like that transitioning from
Mm.
um you were working in a private company,
Yeah.
Kabira,
From Kabira.
and from there probably you made your decision to go back home and take care of your children.
Mm.
That whole transition, that
Yeah.
journey of growth
Mm-hmm.
from when you were working there, going back home, that reality hits you, and then wanting to come back, go back to school,
Yeah.
finish school,
Mm-hmm.
start afresh,
Mm.
to look for employment. That are like, how was that journey like to you personally,
Mm.
mentally, psychologically? How was it? How easy was it for you to transition or to outgrow all these different
Mm.
levels of life?
Yeah. It is not easy, first of all,
Mm,
because remember, you're kind of self-reliant.
mm,
Before you get married, you have your job, you
mm,
earn your salary,
mm,
it comes full package for you, and you determine what you want.
mm,
But here comes a moment when you now have to relinquish this job,
mm,
and you're going to be with your husband, and you're basically going to be on the receiving side, always reminding him, oh, I need this,
you forgot to buy
oh, you forgot to buy this. And truth be told,
mm.
I don't like, and I didn't like it.
It's like a stage of vulnerability.
It is
No woman
terrible.
would ever explain to the
Never.
maximum. It is
Exactly.
ay, why you have to be on the receiving
Receiving
side the whole
side
time.
and passing on reminders. It's
Yes.
not nice at all.
Please don't forget to buy milk.
Please don't forget to buy milk, and yet this is what you've been doing on your own. You pull your money and you go and buy milk. This time you have got to remind someone. At times you feel like maybe you're bugging someone
Yeah.
because he's basically footing all bills.
Mm.
Yeah. But anyway, we lived on. I don't have regrets for having gotten married. I forgot to tell you that my mother never came to terms with me getting married. I was her jewel. She loved
Mm.
me so much. She never got to terms with it, but she had nothing much to do because the girl had decided to get
Yeah.
married.
Yeah.
So when somehow my kuhinjira was at my father's home,
Mm.
so that was another moment. Now, when these guys came,
Mm.
first the introduction, when they came, we gave them directions. But being people from Teso, they had never crossed the other side.
Mm.
And daddy's home is in Nkoni in
Mm.
Masaka. That's
Mm.
where he migrated to from
Mm.
Tongamo.
Mm.
So I told these guys it is in Nkoni.
Mm.
Yeah?
Mm.
For them, they had Chinoni. So they came and they went beyond Nkoni and went to Chinoni.
Yeah. They had no this what do they call they
no,
call
this,
them
this,
Bachilima in Nyankole.
oh,
That person who always leads.
they by the way, they didn't have. I think they did have.
Culturally, it's not in their
Yeah,
culture.
it is. It should be. I don't know really what happened.
Mm,
But they went
mm,
beyond
mm.
up to Chinoni.
Hey,
So, and time went.
you
So what
know,
happens with me is my siblings say, "Oh, they lied
the
you.
man is not
The man is
coming.
not coming." So I literally cried. Eh?
Mm,
And know that time there were no phones, there were no mobile phones. So it was very hard to know what is happening. But fortunately, when they reached Chinoni, Muzee was well known as an agriculturalist, he was an extension officer. So most of those places knew him and they had seen him shopping. So they told them that no, you've
mm,
come far ahead of
mm,
you bypassed the home. So they
mm,
redirected them and gave them the correct directions. And so we saw them arriving. That was great relief.
mm.
And so the function ended well. And yeah, they came for the Kuhinjira and
You had to pack your
I
things.
had to pack my things painfully. I had very stubborn siblings who kept on saying, Martha, so you've gone. You've real gone. You've gone forever. And in Ankole, that is how what they do.
Everyone
They
starts crying.
everyone starts crying. So but anyway, I had to go because
Mm.
I had chosen to get married.
Mm,
So we had a successful wedding and we started living together,
mm,
producing our children.
mm.
Yeah.
You know, to be honest, your one story of a successful intermarriage and like for your generation that I
Yes.
have had,
Yeah.
like for us growing up, I won't lie, there were a lot of horrific stories that were associated with intermarriages, whereby even like us culturally, like our grandparents, our those elders, they would discourage
Exactly.
a
Mkoko.
cross marriage, whether it's a cross or
Intermarriage.
it's an inter. They would discourage an intermarriage. They would say horrific things about intermarriages. So first we grew up in that mindset of, eh, like my grandma made, like, her soul rest in peace. She had all these kinds of, I don't know where she got them from. I think they were true, most of them, but she had a lot of stories she told us about them. So when you're narrating such a story, there are very many adolescent girls, women of my generation, that you're actually changing a mindset. Believe me, because we have maybe not experienced that, but we have been told a lot of bad experiences where women disappear and never come back. They never go back to their families at all. They never, extend their relatives when an intermarriage happens, things like that. And first, that's how we grow up, like in our minds. You do not want to hear. You don't want to hear. But I'm glad that you're here today and we are sharing this moment because it's not only me, you are actually changing a mind. There are very many girls out there that I know will be pleased to listen to such a story. They can even interact with you beyond. They're like, oh, we know this woman who probably successfully struggled through and she won against all these other cultural norms that were put up. They can even be realities, but I think something needs to change. That's for sure. We need to, change this narrative. And it begins here when Emergent Woman. I'm happy that you're here today.
I'm so glad.
Yeah. Now, Martha, which kind of woman inspires you and why?
May her soul rest in peace. I have talked about my mother.
Mm.
My mother was a very hardworking, determined woman. Being a single parent, she was able to raise her 4 children. And simply a nurse, she was able to, under all odds, educate her children up to university. for me, that was a great inspiration. We never lacked. She used her hands and her intellect to ensure that she raised her children. She would do all sorts of jobs to ensure that we have all that we had, all that we needed, be it clothing. You know, those days, issues of having a new dress on Easter, on Christmas, on Independence Day. Those are things that we don't hear about now. It's not something that can take your time thinking about a new dress, thinking about what meal we shall have during Christmas, during Easter. But during our days, that was very critical. And any parent needed to ensure those things were in place, or else the children would not be happy all through the festivities. So for that, I really remain indebted to my mother. At times, I wish she was still around and remind her of
She's
the
watching.
good things that she
She's
did,
watching.
what she meant to our growing. But what is also very important is that she groomed everybody alike, boy and girl. Boy would go to the kitchen, girl would also go to the kitchen. So tasks were not limited to girls. And I think that was special about her. Because I remember my elder brother, again also, rest in peace, how he used to prepare food for us. And that was when he was in O level. He would prepare very nice food. He would do confectionaries. He would do baking as though it was a woman, and something that I wouldn't do at that time. So I attribute it to mommy, because she really made sure that everybody learned something. And then she was this outgoing lady who interacted even with her own bosses, and you would see that she's invited out to some of her bosses' houses during house parties, during birthdays. And because I grew up at a time when the Asians were still here, I have very vivid memories of some, I think they must have been wedding parties in the Pioneer School sorority, and they would invite her, and I was always the favorite child she would move with. And I have memories of the nice cakes we would eat, and then I would tell her we would have to carry some for the siblings we left home, and somehow she would say, manners are that you don't carry from a party. Unlike now, we really shoplift as we leave a party. Yeah, but then she would try to instill certain behaviors in me that were deserving of a specific event. Yeah, so that was it about growing up. And then before we moved places, because she was a civil servant. From Soroti, from Arua, she was posted to Tororo, then to Soroti.
Yeah.
I lived in Soroti, and then she was transferred to Bugiri Hospital. When she went to Bugiri Hospital, it was in the middle of the year, and so it meant that she needed to put us in boarding school, something she had never thought about, putting young children in boarding school. And so I was put in a boarding school called Soroti Demonstration School. It was a new experience. I was used to having whatever I needed at whatever time. So getting into boarding school was so challenging. But somehow I had to harden up. But what I can vividly remember is I never liked to see either a maggot in posho or a bean weevil. It would put me off, and I would never eat that food. So I remember I would go to potato gardens, school gardens, and pick those cut-offs of potatoes, and that is what I would eat. The moment I saw a bean weevil, So what I did also as a coping mechanism was to
Mm.
befriend the cooks.
Mm.
Cooks incidentally had special food. So I
Mm.
befriended them
Mm.
so that they would give me part of the bottom layer of the beans of their food and their portion. The other vivid memory I have about boarding school hygiene
Mm.
in boarding school.
Mm.
I think I could go some days without bathing
Mm.
because I feared cold water.
Mm.
And then we had scabies. Oh my God, I can't believe my skin has had scabies. It's now so clear,
Mm.
but I had scabies. Scabies is locally called called simama.
Mm.
So you scratch yourself, it would go behind the ears,
Mm.
on the neck.
Mm.
But somehow it worried my mother because we also had lice. You know, lice, hair
Mm.
lice.
Mm.
So you scratch your hair and you somehow pull with anger, and I ended up with a certain structure on my head.
Oh.
Hair lost around here because of,
Wow.
itching of the
Yes.
lice
In boarding
in
school.
boarding school. When she came to visit
Mm.
me,
Mm.
she took me to a restaurant.
Mm.
And that is what she used to do. She'd take us
Mm.
to a restaurant,
Mm.
buy us whatever food. So one time she came, she bought us the first round of food. It
Mm.
was chicken, rice, matoke, chapati, and I ate with all the. I was as if eating and stalking for some
For
days. You
some
get,
days.
eh?
Mm.
Then she said, "Are you all satisfied?" Then I said, "Mommy, I need more food." So she bought more. But getting to school became a challenge. I could not move a step. I was in the dormitory, I was rolling around and rolling on the floor, and all the girls came watching this small girl here. What happened?
Yeah. How many days did that take you?
It just that evening. So
Yeah.
somebody said, "Can I make you some dry tea?" I could not hesitate.
Mm.
When I said yes, the girls laughed at me.
Mm.
But guess what?
Mm.
The dry tea helped,
To
to
speed
speed
up
up
the
the digestion.
digestion.
And soon I was okay. So that was first aid for me.
Mm.
But memories of boarding school in primary,
Mm.
I don't know what happens now. I've put my children through boarding school,
Mm.
but I think our times were very
Yeah,
different.
it was also, in the 90s, right?
Yes. 90s?
Eh.
That was early, late 70s and 80s. So you want to adjust my age now.
Oh God.
Yes.
No, my God. Anyway,
So
I'm trying to be
she was,
polite.
she was, no, it was late 70s and early
Ah,
80s.
that was
So,
when school was just being introduced. These systems were just
yes.
being introduced.
So she had to withdraw me from boarding school and
Mm.
carried me to Bujiri
Mm.
and then put me to some day school.
So you lived in Bujiri as
I
well.
lived in Bujiri for some good time
How
from
long?
77.
Mm.
Of course, we used to go there for holidays, even when
Mm.
we were in the other boarding school.
Mm.
But then from 78,
Mm.
79,
Mm.
77, 78, 79, I was fully there
Mm.
in school in
Mm.
Bujiri.
Oh.
Then we left after Amin was overthrown,
Mm.
and we left Bujiri.
Mm.
She was now transferred to Atutur Hospital.
Where is that?
That is in Kumi district.
Oh.
Yes, and that is when now I was in primary 7 in 1980,
Mm.
and I repeated, and then 82 I joined my O level in Ngora High School.
Mm.
I hope you've heard about Ngora High School.
I have. I just recently just learned about Ngora district.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It is such a wonderful school. and it groomed me. You know, the first years of high school are very critical in developing a young person's mind and tuning them to working towards their future. So I studied through Ngora High School for my O level, and then I went to Wanyange, and then I joined Kampala High, and then went to National College of Business Studies, now MOOBS, and then, of course, worked for a year, marriage, got back to university. But what is very critical, the turning point in my career, you remember I told you I did business studies and did that job of accounting for 1 year. But when I got married and started volunteer work with the USO, the Uganda efforts, women's efforts to save orphans, I was elected also as a district executive, as a finance officer for USO in Kumi district. And so that saw me going out on volunteer. It was basically a volunteer job. And saw me going out on volunteer work with my baby on my back before I joined the women's thing. Those experiences were a turning point in determining my career path. And so that is when I decided to come back to Makerere and do adult and community education. Yeah. And so I swerved off from the accounting pathway.
Career to
yes.
But you see, it's because of the lived experiences.
Exactly.
They kind of drove you to what you are right now. Is Wanyange a missionary school?
No, it's a government school, but
because
girls only school.
Yeah, because there's a school in Bushenyi called Bweranyangi, and they almost have like the same names.
Oh yes.
It's also a missionary
is it a
school.
missionary school?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was started by missionaries.
This is an Anglican founded school.
Even Bweranyangi, it is like technically an Anglican founded, but their history, they were all missionary schools. Began by whites who came and blended in and began these schools slowly. Now, like Bweranyangi, it started from Bara as a primary school. It went on to Bushenyi. It has both a primary, a junior, and a secondary. So they have like the same names.
Okay.
And when you speak and see you in your caliber, I would want to think these schools actually have something in common.
Probably one being girls only schools.
Even, yeah.
And then being Anglican founded. Wanyange.
Wanyange is a hill. What does Wanyange mean?
Wanyange, I just know that it's a hill. It's a hill adjacent to the King's Palace.
Enyanji in Runyankole.
It's a bird.
An eagle.
An eagle.
Yeah, so like people who went to Bweranyangi are called egrets.
Egrets, eh? I wouldn't want to associate it to that, but
well,
Wanyange is just on a hill. Wanyange Hill, and it is separated by a valley from Mwiri College, Usoga College Mwiri, and then also with another valley separated from the what is it called? The King's Palace, the Busoga King's Palace. Yeah.
Well, never know, that must be a common
It could be. Maybe I didn't take much interest, but
every time I hear that name, I think about Bweranyangi. Like they have the same. I don't know.
Yes.
Anywho, I think we've really, really talked about you, Martha. I have got to know you. I always met you, and in work, in communities of young people, and that takes me to my next question.